You're listening to The Power Project. I'm your host, Brandy Voth. I also like to think that I'm your guide along this journey of purpose, which is where you will hopefully end up at the end of this podcast. I'm a mom, a wife, a daughter, a friend, an entrepreneur, an advocate in the fight against human trafficking. I wear a lot of hats, y'all, but don't we all? And most importantly, I am passionate about inspiring women to go out and lead purpose-filled lives while owning your God-given power. I have this crazy belief that we are all better when we lift each other up, which is exactly why I created this platform to spotlight other women that are leading in ministry, business, and nonprofits in the hopes that you at home will be inspired by their stories to get up and take action in order to walk in purpose and own your God-given power. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Welcome back to The Power Project. I am super pumped about our episode today because it seems like more and more often I'm having this conversation where people are reaching out to me almost daily, wanting to quote unquote pick my brain, which is kind of a funny phrase if you even really think about that in the literal context. Who came up with that? But seriously, there's a lot of things going on. I wear a lot of hats. There are a lot of irons in the fire. And so just naturally, those around me that are wanting to do some of the same things that I'm doing are inclined to question and ask and look for advice. Now, you guys know I love mentoring. I'm a huge, huge fan of being a mentor. I'm a huge fan of finding a mentor. I believe that we all can learn from one another so much better than we can from a textbook or even a course. I think that we humans are just naturally inclined to teach one another. And they say that back in the day, all right, so I don't have all of your specific timelines here for you, but back in the day, people learned from one another. So when there were skilled tradesmen, there were apprenticeships where people would work underneath one another to learn a trade. They would learn how to be a blacksmith. They would learn how to shoe horses. They would learn how to be a farmer and plant crops. And this continued on through auto mechanicking and into all of your trades that we have today, welding and painting and construction. But in the era that we've all grown up in, we had this rise of educated individuals. We had a rise of college degrees, and we somewhere along the way just seemingly quit learning from one another. But I am super excited to tell you guys that the education industry and learning from one another is back in full force. It's my favorite way to just do community with each other. So that being said, I thought if I have a lot of people in my inner circle, both that I know locally and that I know via the internet, reaching out to me, wanting to have chats about how I do certain things, then certainly my podcast listeners could benefit from this as well. And you guys know that I love to jump on here and give you some purposeful business coaching. So today's topic, what we're going to talk about, is repurposing content. Now, you may be super scared off by this. You may be overwhelmed by this. I get it. Every single time I heard people talk about utilizing all the platforms and repurposing content, it just seemed like this really great, big, audacious goal that was something so much greater than I could attain. And to be completely honest, it felt like one more thing I had to do, and how on earth was I going to cram that in with the insane schedule that I currently had going? However, when I really took the time to just get to understand how you can utilize one piece of content and take that content and spin it into a different creation, a different form, and utilize it on different platforms in different manners, it became much less scary. Now, this is not something that I was able to just wake up one day and know how to do. This was something that I had to spend some time figuring out which platforms were best used for what and what types of content went best with different audiences. Because in case you guys don't know, the platforms, well, guys, they all have different audiences and things are received much differently on, let's say, LinkedIn than they are on Facebook or even on TikTok versus Pinterest. And right now you're probably thinking, I just jumped over to Instagram to try to learn it, and now you want me to learn other platforms. That's okay. There are people for you in all of these circles and areas that are willing to help you. There's a ton of resources out there. And if there's anything that is not answered in today's episode, you can circle around to YouTube and Google, and I promise that you can find an article or a video that's going to teach you how to do something that I'm about to tell you if you need it in a little more in depth. Now, when I started my podcast and my blog, I had zero business coaching. The only mentors in my life that taught me how to do those things were podcast hosts and YouTube videos and Google searches. That's literally how I learned how to bring all of this to you guys. Now, I've taken all that work that I've done to try to Google and watch and read and listen how to do this, and I've put it into one condensed episode for you to save you a ton of time. Because trust me when I say it definitely did not come quick or easy for me to figure this out. However, now that I have gotten into the groove, I can sit down and seriously do some batch content repurposing and go out in all the different areas of all the different platforms on social media and the internet. And I'm seeing a great increase of traffic on my blog. I'm seeing spiked increases in downloads on my podcast episodes. And my website alone is getting tons more visitors, which is translating to more people on my email list. Okay, are you broken out in hives yet? Are you sweating? Has your heart raced at the thought of repurposing content? Well, that's all right. I'm going to make it easy on you. So once you get the system down, you're going to be able to apply it in a short amount of time, once a week. Literally, I take like Fridays as my repurpose content day, and that's not the day that I am producing, recording, publishing, but that's the day that I take things I've already created and then I go and put them in other areas so that more people can see them. Because after all, if you're going to the work to create the content that you're creating, but you're not reaching as many people as possible with that content, you are literally throwing your time and your energy and your money away. And I say money because, well, I pay for an email marketing platform and I pay for a podcast host platform. So if I'm going to take precious time and energy to create a podcast, then I need to make sure that I am getting that episode out into the world for all the people to see it. Okay, some things that you need to know. You can look at this as repurposing either a YouTube video or a blog post or a podcast episode, whatever content it is that you've created, you can go and share that in a lot of different areas. But it's just like starting a business or creating a product or creating a course, what have you. Whatever it is that you've created, well, it's not going to market and sell itself. I see this so frequently in my skincare business that I'm in, where people think that they invest in the business, they get their products, they're so excited, they're now a business owner, and then they expect people to come beat their doors down to buy the products that they have to offer. And you guys, I'm here to burst your bubble and tell you, nothing is going to sell itself. It's not going to market itself. It's not going to share itself. Unless, of course, you have a piece of content on the internet that goes viral. But that has to be on that platform for that to ever happen in the first place. So this is just like anything else, whether you start a brick and mortar business or a virtual business, or you create something that you've made, you have to put it out into the world, and you have to keep putting it out over and over and over again, because you can't just talk about something one time and then expect people in the information age to remember what it is you're talking about. You're gonna have to keep talking about it repeatedly to a lot of different people. So I feel like maybe I got the bad news out of the way, but let's go ahead and jump into the good news and the things that I am here to help you with today. For starters, I want you guys to get really familiar with your platforms. And some of you, I get it, I've already lost you. You are like, check, please, I'm done. That's okay. But I like to tell people that it doesn't matter what you don't know yet, because none of us knew it until we knew it. So just stick with me. You can learn new platforms. It's not nearly as scary or overwhelming. P.S. And by the way, if you're a business owner, if you are a podcast host, if you are a blogger or a vlogger, or anything that you are trying to grow and scale, if you tell me that you don't have time to learn a new social media platform, then I just take that as you don't care that much about your business, because business changes, you guys. Business evolves. We have to stay ahead of the curve and ahead of the trends. I am constantly analyzing market trends and business trends constantly, because I have a multitude of businesses that range from traditional to non-traditional to virtual to social enterprise to this whole crazy podcast, platform. And so I'm constantly analyzing what is the best way to market that business at that time. This means I have to learn new platforms on a regular basis and learn new ways to talk to people on a regular basis. So here I am, I'm your buddy. I'm going to teach you about your platforms and make it easy for you and not so scary. First, the one that we all are most common with, if you're my age, is Facebook. This is a friends and family platform. Facebook was never intended to do business or social commerce on. I know that some of us have been guilty of doing some business over there. However, you don't want to do business on your personal Facebook. That is literally for you to interact, hang out, share cute pictures of your kids, your dogs, you in yoga pants. Facebook people aren't real picky about you making sure your pictures are super pretty. They really like authenticity. But if you do want to do business on Facebook, you need to create a Facebook page. This is where you can post all of your business content. This is where you go to promote and sell products, courses, branding, whatever it is that you're wanting to do. Really, business is going to be on that Facebook page. You can boost those posts to get more visibility. Like, you can literally boost a post for like $1 a day. It's not a big deal. It's not hard. It's not as complicated as doing a full-on Facebook ad through Ads Manager. So that's what you need to know. On your personal page, if you are going to promote your business on a Facebook, personal Facebook, you need to do it in a manner where you're not listing website prices, saying the word sell, buy product. You really want to make it just be part of either branding or lifestyle in that manner. Now, number 2, the second platform that we're going to talk about is Instagram. Instagram is great for personal branding and marketing. You're going to want to make sure that you have a business or a creator account, because if you have a personal account, you don't have access to all of the analytics and insights for tracking. The reason that's important is because Instagram likes to make sure that your followers are super engaged, meaning the number of your followers are not as important as having engaged followers that are buying into the content that you are sharing. So back in the day when people first started kind of growing over on Instagram, before different algorithms had changed, people had done the follow unfollow technique, And I've also even seen some people buy followers. So what that means is you increase your follower count, but you're not increasing your engagement. And Instagram is shutting all that down at this point because they want you hanging out on the app, building community with people. And if you're branding and you're marketing, that's great, but they want to make sure that you're branding and marketing to people that want to hear what it is that you have to say and want to see what it is that you have to buy. So that means having an engaged follower count that is going to like your post as well as comment on your post and, do actual business with each other and be social with one another. The third platform, okay, so Facebook and Instagram, those are social media platforms. Now, LinkedIn is a social media platform for business. So this is where a lot of business to business is done, meaning you're a business that sells a service to another business. This is where your business networking is done. It's great for speakers, authors, podcast hosts. You can write articles and really set yourself up as an expert in your field of expertise. You can share blog. There's about 6 different types of articles that you want to write over on LinkedIn. And those are going to be blog posts, industry news, how-tos and list, like 10 things to know about this or how to do this. Quick tips, so some quick tips about networking or business event photos are great. You can promote whatever activities that you have going on within your business over there with photos of those events. And then also updates about your business. So if you have changed locations, if you've taken on a partner, if you've been announced as like the town's best bakery, what have you, that's going to be what you're going to want to share on LinkedIn. So it's social media for business people. TikTok is another social media platform. It is the literal Wild West of social media over there, you guys. It's the newest one that I'm a member of. And I jumped over there because I was kind of curious as to what my kids' friends were doing on TikTok, as well as there were some other speakers and authors that were leveraging the platform. Because it's basically like when we were able to put things on Facebook and have them go viral very easily, or when we were able to grow followings on Instagram very quickly way long ago. That's what TikTok's like right now. You don't have to have a high follower count for your content to be viewed or for it to go viral. There's not an algorithm that is actively shutting down your content, meaning Facebook and Instagram, they are really focused on the type of content that gets seen. So only about 3% of your content gets seen by your followers. And on TikTok, that's not the case. It's like if you throw something out there and it has a good response, then it can go viral very quickly. It's very easy to grow a quick following on TikTok. Okay, that's the good part of it. The bad part of it is the majority of the users over there are like 12 to 15-year-old girls. They can also be really ruthless. So just know that when you put yourself out there. Like housewives don't have anything on TikTok, kids. But producing as much content as possible on TikTok is key. It's really good for brand awareness, and you don't really have to overthink what you're doing over there. So whereas Instagram, we like to make our pictures pretty and our content really impactful, and we really kind of think about what we put over there, and we don't necessarily just throw spaghetti at the wall. On TikTok, you have a 15 or a 60-second video that you can throw whatever message you want into. You do want to make sure that this message either entertains or educates. There's challenge videos that you can do. But if you're building your own brand, you want to make sure that you're entertaining or you're educating on TikTok. Those are the social media platforms. Now, the next two that I want to talk about are search engine platforms. This is YouTube. That's the first search engine I want to talk about. What do I mean by search engine? I mean, people go to YouTube just like they do Google. They type in how to blank. So this is a really, really great platform. By the way, video content is queen for 2020. There was kind of a shift away from YouTube in the past couple of years, but there's been an upsurge of YouTube being really where people are going to watch videos. So that if you're a service-based provider, if you are a coach, if you're a speaker, a teacher, a trainer, an instructor of any type, you want to be on YouTube. You want people hearing from you, learning from you. They can see who you are before they book a coaching call. They can check out your yoga videos before they come to your class. It's solid gold. But you want to make sure your videos are set up in a how-to manner. So how to repurpose your content is a video that will do really well over on YouTube. Now, the other thing to know about that is most people watch videos with the sound off, because if they're watching them at their desk at work or maybe the bathroom stall, no judging here, they don't want to turn the volume up. So I add subtitles, captions to all of my videos. There's a few different apps you can use that easily add the captions to your videos as you record or after you record. Okay, the next search engine is Pinterest. And this was like a hidden gem that I just discovered in the past year. This is a search engine as well. People go to Pinterest to figure out how to pair a leopard booty with a black leather pant and a denim moto jacket, right? So they go and they type in these how-to things over on Pinterest. You look up recipes on Pinterest. You look up, I find all types of business pins on Pinterest now. And the way that this is done, the way that you kind of figure out your market and your audience over there and how you're going to reach them and what they're going to be searching for is to go to the search bar up top and just type in, this is how you're going to build your keywords and your key phrases for Pinterest. Type in the subject that you have. So repurposing content or how to use social media platforms. And then it will auto-populate various phrases related to that subject. And you can craft your content and your pins based off of those phrases. So you see what's trending, you see what people are looking for. Now, if you're using Pinterest for your podcast promotion, they say, and I am not up to this, right now I'm doing like 1 to 2 pins per episode, but really we need to be doing 10 pins per episode, you guys. Isn't that crazy? But you can take little quotes out of the episode and little tidbits and little takeaways, and it can be, your pin can be saying the same thing overall, but as long as you make it have a different graphic and some different wording, then it's different pins, but they all circle back to that one post, because someone might search how to repurpose content while someone else posts how to leverage Pinterest. So see how I can use a bunch of different pins for this one episode and point everyone back to it so I get more listeners to it, which is the goal at the end of the day. Now, you want to make sure that you have a business account on Pinterest. Once again, this helps you track your analytics and see how many impressions your pins are getting. It helps you see who you're reaching and what's trending well and what's not trending well. Okay, those are the platforms. Hopefully we're somewhat clear on the different platforms and what is and isn't a search engine versus a social media platform. Great. Now, how do we be present on all of those without completely losing our minds and getting distracted from the nitty-gritty, which is making actual money with our businesses? So I'm going to tell you exactly how I do this with my podcast and what I'm going to do with this podcast here. So I'm going to record this podcast on my host platform. I use Spreaker for my host platform because Spreaker pushes that podcast episode out to all the platforms that it's listened to on. So it pushes it out to iTunes and Spotify and iHeartRadio and Google Podcast and all of the places that it is. So I record and I host. I host it over there. So then I create show notes that are typed up with a summary of the episode, and those are attached to my episode page there on the Spreaker platform. These show notes are not going to be word for word verbatim. I don't script my episodes, but I do a summary, and then I also put my key takeaways and step-by-step tangible actions that people can take to implement what was learned in that episode. So that is there on my main episode page. Now I create a graphic with either a picture of myself or my subject or my guest and a quote on this graphic, and that's shared on the Power Project Instagram page. I use saved hashtags that I have in my notes I have a set for personal development, I have a set for women in business, a set for self-love, and then a set for general podcast promotion. Keep those in my notes so that all I do is I drop that graphic on the Power Project Instagram page and I attach the hashtags. I give a little 3-line takeaway on the episode and point everyone to go listen to the episode. Now in my stories, I'm able to share directly from SoundCloud and Spotify to my Instagram stories the actual episode where people can just click and listen. Okay, hopefully you're still with me. Now, those show notes that we typed up on the episode that we shared on the episode page, those are the solid gold of everything that happens on all the platforms at this point. We take those show notes and then transfer them into a blog post on my website. On the blog post on the website, I embed the audio recording of the episode from Spreaker. So now when people visit my blog post there on the website, they have a direct link immediately to the show notes there, plus the episode itself, and then they can click and leave reviews and leave ratings. We always like 5 stars. P.S. And by the way, have you left a review lately? I'll take one today for all this solid gold free advice I'm giving you. But I digress. Now, after we have created that blog post on the website with our graphic and our episode embedded in it, I then take those show notes, I shorten them and condense them a bit, and I take those along with the key takeaways, and I plug them into a template that I have over on Flowdesk, which is my automated email platform that I use. You can actually use the discount code POWERPROJECT to save some money on that, and I love it. It's the best automated email platform I've ever used, and my emails are beautiful if you haven't seen them. So I plug my show notes into a template that I have on that Flowdesk there, and I turn that into a newsletter that goes out. So my podcast publishes on Thursday. The newsletter goes out on Tuesday morning, so that if anyone missed the new episode being downloaded or they didn't realize that a new episode came out, they get a reminder on Tuesday that circles them back around to the podcast. I have a direct link to iTunes and a direct link to Spotify there in the newsletter so that my readers are super easily able to just click and listen. They can subscribe, write a review, and give me a 5-star rating, all with one easy click. Now, another thing, and this is just a little added tidbit, but in that newsletter, I also point my readers over to my Facebook group, Power Squad, so that we can hang out and get to know each other a little better, and they can get some more individualized tips and tricks from me. So after that, I take this episode and the show notes, and that's where I create those Pinterest pins that I was talking to you about earlier. I use Canva for my graphics. So Canva has an option for Pinterest dimensions. It's super easy, and it has it there for you to plug in. And then those pins are going to give a brief takeaway. All these pins that I do on Pinterest related to the episodes are going to be like 3 tips, 5 tricks, how to, super searchable terms that people are looking for. Just enough to catch the reader's attention, but I want them to still click the link for more. So I'm going to give them like the basic 3 things to know, but then they're going to want the full episode where they really get to learn it all and hear the story behind it. So the pin is going to point the reader back to either the episode link itself or my blog. Oftentimes I use my blog because that has the embedded, then I get them on my website and the episode is embedded there. So everything's wrapped up in one pretty bow over there. But I can also use a pin to use it as, I direct them to a landing page for my email opt-in to grow my email list. Or like I said, it can directly link to the episode on iTunes or Spotify, either way. So each pin is designed with whatever course of action that I want to guide the audience to choose. And if you'll notice, it sounds like a lot, but once you look at it on paper in writing, you realize that it all just circles around from the blog to the podcast to the email newsletter to the social medias and back around again. So in order for it to not be super overwhelming for you guys, I created a guide to go along with this, and it's the How to Repurpose Content guide. It's going to give you the bullet points and the step-by-step that I covered in this episode, so you don't have to go write all of that down. You can actually just jump over to the-powerproject.com, and you're going to click on content, and that's going to download. You can get it. It's going to get sent straight over to your email, and you'll have this in your arsenal so that when you get ready to repurpose the content for your own podcast or blog or vlog or what have you, you have it all right there waiting for you. And I will go ahead, I'll add that in the show notes, so don't freak out about trying to, write down that website address. That'll be in the show notes. Now, another thing that I am going to ask you guys, I'm trying to provide more business coaching content for you because so many people keep asking for it. So I've created a quick 15-question survey that is going to ask you which topics about business you most need help with so that I can create some more episodes and courses for you to help you with that. That's on the website as well, the-powerproject.com, and it's going to say business coaching survey for that one. I will include that in the show notes as well. Now, I cannot wait to see you guys out there pinning and writing LinkedIn articles, and please come join me over on TikTok because y'all, I need some more adult friends over there, but I can't wait to see all of the content that you are going to put out into the world because you guys, somebody needs to hear exactly what it is that you have to say. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope that you enjoyed this episode just as much as I enjoyed bringing you these little nuggets of wisdom. As always, if you did, can you do me a favor? Please go write a review, rate us, share this with all of your friends, and tell them about this show because that way we can keep bringing more content to more people and reaching all that we are supposed to reach. I can't wait to chat with you next week, but until then, go out and live your best purpose-filled lives.